So we're going to form the opposite gable on the other side. So we've already formed this one and it's very straightforward. Now, I'm a strong believer in not doing things twice or making things difficult. So for example, setting out the head plate for this gable is a matter of setting it back from the first pair of commons, attaching it through so it all becomes one. When you add anything together like a T, it becomes particularly strong. The other thing it does as well is when we put our outriggers through for our gable end rafter, which carries the undersoffit and the barge board, we've already got a really nice fixing. We can go through here, go through the end. That gets cantilevered out for about 200 millimeters, catches our gable end rafter. So what did we do? So we've got our lattice sitting on top of a 4-ply. It's only a 4-ply because this wall dictates that it would be a 4-ply. Now we're going to put a pair of legs under each side. I'm just letting that dry out a bit, that 4-ply. The moisture content was a bit high in the timber. We just need to give it a couple of days, then I'll jack it up. We've just got the ridge held with an acro prop at the moment. So I'm going to get down the other side. We'll get that gable built. I've got a few tips and tricks and we'll do that right now. So I've got these wall plates, which are going to be the top of my gable end walls, and they go against this first pair of rafters. That's how I like to do it. I like to connect it to there. I like to have it just down enough to get my outriggers through. And the way I mark those, I've got a pair I'll cut here. This device equals the height of our outriggers. So this comes in handy for setting out the position of it. I'll just take it here. So this is exactly where the top of it is. So this is where it's going to go. So I use this device here to fix it all the way through parallel from ridge to plate. And you can see we've got super long rafters here. These are about the longest rafters you might want to get before you end up having to have some sort of steel purlins halfway through. This building here is about 7.6 meters from outside of plate to outside of plate. Now most houses I ever work on, let's say in inner cities and that sort of stuff, terraced houses, very rarely would you have a building this deep, believe it or not. So this is probably deeper than the average terrace house, for example. That's what gives us a great big roof structure like this. So anyway, so that's that. So to mark these out, I take my common rafter template. You can see I've got the line all the way through here. That's effectively where the plate goes. And then to mark them out, these ones are cut, but effectively, I'll go and set that on. So what we're doing is we're coming up against the ridge, which is there, and the other end against the wall plate. There. So to mark that out, I would have laid along a whole piece, mark the top cut, mark the bottom cut, 45 degrees in this case, plumb cut, seat cut, and that's the exact size that I need. Now, you try measuring that from a point up there, especially if you're working on your own, down to there, it's particularly difficult. By using our template for everything, it's never going to fail. So we'll get these in first, then we'll mark the studs up, and away we go. Start on that one, Ed, go all the way up to the top, yeah? And then the other side. All right, mate? And then just give us a squiggle underneath so we know which side which is which as we go. Pop that end up to man. All right, just go right high in the air for a minute. All right, let me get mine in position. Right. I'm somewhere near it. How are you looking? Right, hold on a second. I'll just get a fixing in here. Yeah? Yeah, lovely. You happy there? Yes, mate. How's your line? Just check the very point.
That's me there on it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get one in the middle. Okay, I'll pass you the fixing. Yeah, you're on the line?
Yeah, I'm on the flight.
I'll fish it through the dormer opening there. First of all the way back up to the mat. Just try and weave it around the right side of your pole. That's it, mate, and keep going straight up. Good, I'll jump out here. Boys, everyone got it?
Yeah.
Watch what you do, that's it. Straight up in the air. How's she look there?
Come to you a bit, mate.
Come and get the whip out the middle for us, Ollie. That's it, mate. Perfect there. How's it? How's she look there, Ed?
Could go a touch more towards you, mate.
Just a hair. Yours will probably pull up tight.
Yeah.
Get one in the middle. Keep it all straight.
Good.
Then we'll nail it all up. Up. Down a bit, Ollie. Down. We've got our head plates in now for our gable wall, fixed to the pair of end common rafters. We've obviously got our sole plate in, which has been positioned plumb with that. And now what we're going to be doing is putting in our studs. The studs are going at 600 centres. We've got a window in the centre of the gable. So the first job would be find exactly the centre of the ridge. So you can do this with a plumb bob. If you had a long enough spirit level, you can do it with a spirit level. I'm going to be using a laser because I can use the plumb dot. This particular laser's got a plumb dot on it. So I'm just going to take that up to the ridge above me. Now once I've got it in the middle, in the centre, I can mark the plate at the bottom, and that gives me exactly what I need. So underneath there, the laser's going up and passing through. So that's my centre. I turn my laser off, don't need that for a second. I'll square that through. Centre. Now, this is my rod, this is my window opening, but the stud that I want to put in is not these two or those two, it's the outside one. These two studs, which form the window opening, sit underneath a 4-ply, which supports a head, which supports the lattice ridge that goes over the top. So I'm just going to transfer these marks, all of them off. First of all, we'll just put the two main studs in so I don't confuse myself. That's the one I want to cut in first. This one on this side. So there are first studs. We'll get them squared across. And then we'll set out at 600 centres. So from here we're going to go through at 600 centres. That's purely to do board joins, installation, etc. And the quickest way of doing that is obviously just hold my tape there at 2.4 and then pass all the way down. And then I have a small stud here. Same the other way. Now the other way I'm going to make connection with my ashlar wall, which is our external wall. So I'm only going to get a couple of timbers in there. In fact, that's on the money there, so it's almost to bond, which is good. So let's just take that way as well. 600. Square that one across. That's my stud, and I know that this stud is going to be in line with the end of here, so I'll just make a mark for that. I'll just plumb that down with this piece of wood. That will catch my plasterboard. So we want one here. And we're also going to have a stud here as well, which finishes the external. It's got one here and one here. So I shall just, that basically goes on the outside of that plate. So now the thing is, we need to get the lengths of these studs, so we need to measure up. And again, I'll use the laser, especially for the tall ones. And I want to mark it off the longest edge. So we'll turn the laser on, set the mode. We'll pop the dot. There we go, on the line. We'll look directly above and you'll see that that's where we want to be. Now, Ed, you're going to have to do both. You have to camera and move the laser, because I'm going to hop up, square these across, and I'm going to measure them while I'm at it, while I'm up there, because I'll be up and down like a yo-yo otherwise. Have my trusty notebook here. Made from rock, apparently. This is from Hikoki, and this whole book is made from rock. Can you believe that? That's what they say. It's made from like stone, recycled. It is, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah. But I'll take their word for it. They know what they're doing. So it's on our shoulder mark at the bottom. That's lovely and plumb here. So I'm going to mark that on there. That's where my stud is. That's the longest length. That's the one I want to mark to. We'll square that across. Now, that's where we're going. So I'm going to make a note of these as I go. Now I'll measure these with my Leica, because I can just use the corner here on there and measure down. So if I didn't have, or if you don't have one of these, which is a luxury, because it's a lot easier when you're wielding a tape. So I will get that. You can see it's over the stud at the bottom. And that gives me a lovely measurement. 3,242, and the other side was the same. So 3,242, and these are on my left. Now let's get the right one done. If you can pull that laser over, Ed, multitask. I like a green laser, it's a luxury.
A lot more visible, aren't they?
Very visible, yep. Yeah, Ed was saying they're a lot more visible, if you wondered what he said to me then. 'Cause I've got the mic and he hasn't, unfortunately, but I must invest in a pair. Right, now let's get that measured. Should be something similar to the other side. All it depends on whether the sole plate on the blockwork is dead level, etc. You know, the sort of thing. And that is 3,242. It's the same as my last one, so that's nice. That means the plate's level, the roof's nice and true. So both of our studs are same. So we'll give that a quick measure. Now, here's what I was saying before. If you haven't got electronic tape, cut yourself an offcut. This is exactly 100. And you can attach it with a screw if you want to get something absolutely perfectly. and measure between there and there, and all you're adding on is 100 millimeters. The benefit of this is because you see this, the wider the timber, the more cup and deflection you get in it. If I offer that to the camera, you can see that it's kind of curving a little bit. Now that's quite normal, we just have to deal with that. But by holding a block in to the line, you can then say, well, actually that's how it wants to be there, regardless of any cups or bows. Then you measure your 100, then you cut your stud, and it's likely to fit. Now, that is exactly 600 mil less than the last one, and that should be because we're building at 45 degrees. So for every 600 we travel level, if everything's level true, those stud lengths will diminish or shorten by 600. And it's only really 45 degrees that's going to work for, because every other degree of pitch that you've got a longer side and a shorter side. For example, if you're cutting a 35 degree roof, for every one you rise up, it's less than it is going to travel level because the pitch is lower. It's a bit difficult to explain, but anyway, so that's quite nice. Now if I wanted to, I could just reduce every stud by 600 now, and that will give me a set of diminishing studs, cut them on the bench, and away we go. But because sometimes the wall plates, where they're bedded on, they might go up and down a little bit, can't avoid that. If the brickwork's in and out, then you're better off just direct measuring, cut once, fix once, and they'll be absolutely perfect. So I'm going to measure the rest, mark them up, get them cut, bring them in and fix them. They're perfect. Did a good job of them, Andy. Right, let's get these two long ones out of the way. Because these studs are the nicest for these long ones. 3, 2, 4, 2. That's it. Let's mark them off. Now we've got an 841.